Hey everyone, I'm Jen, and I own a veterinary technician relief business.
And I'm Michelle. I own a veterinary technician mobile house call business.
And you are
And you are
listening
listening
to
to
Endless
Endless
Journeys,
Journeys,
the Vet
the
Tech
Vet Tech
Odyssey
Odyssey
podcast.
podcast.
In this podcast, we will be discussing and meeting with credentialed technicians who have created their own path with business ownership within the veterinary space.
Our goal is to help inspire burnt out vet techs before they leave the industry altogether through our stories and the stories of other vet tech business owners.
Hey everyone, you're tuning in to part 2 of our latest episode. If you haven't listened to part 1 yet, we highly recommend checking it out first to get the full context and enjoy the entire conversation. Both parts are packed with insights and stories that you won't want to miss. Thanks for joining us, and let's dive back in. With everything that we've talked about so far, which I think me personally, I know all of our listeners, they're all on the same page with this. So, what do you think are the main reasons for the current technician shortage that we're seeing in the vet field with with the experience that you've had in the past 26 years?
I think the shortage right now is that I think that when technicians are getting out of school or hopping into the field and their vet assistants or even credentialed technicians get out of school, I think they get into it and they burn out pretty quickly. Like you guys had said previously, the average lifespan or career span for a technician at this point is what,
4 to
7
6.
years? 4 to 6 years. Ugh.
That's what I
Um,
heard.
Dr. Josh Rosen, he just posted something
Mhm.
that I wanted to quote. He said that you're not tired because you care too much. You're tired because you've been carrying too much. And I think that speaks volumes because we talk about compassion fatigue a lot being a reason for burnout, but it's not us caring too much about our field. It's more that we are undersupported, we're overworked, we're not allowed to work at the top of our license oftentimes. I know that when I go into a clinic and I make a suggestion to do something a certain way, do you mind if and I have to be careful, right? Like if I make a suggestion on how to practice
Oh,
to a
yeah.
doctor, I have to
Yes.
be really careful. And I've had doctors not be so kind at those recommendations, and it's education time with our clients, and it's emotionally and physically exhausting. And oftentimes it's having to do things on your own and then getting hurt, physically injured
Mhm. Oh,
because
yeah.
you
I
feel
have
like
bruises on my thighs right now from 2 days ago. I sent it to my husband, and he saw the bruises. He's like, "What?" That's it. But, like,
yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, a good friend of my husband's that he grew up with and we used to hang out with all the time. He used to ask me all the time. He's like, "Is your husband beating you? Like, is he hurting you?" And I'm like, "No, dude, this is like vet med. This is what happens." He'd go, pull me aside. He'd be like, You can tell me." And I'm like, "I love you so much, but he is not hurting me. This is the price of vet med. Like,
No, this
we
is
have
my
a physical
job.
job." Yeah, it is a physical job. And, I've hurt my lower back. I've had techs be permanently injured,
Oh, yeah.
and need back surgery. So, I honestly think the vet tech shortage right now is because of that. And we'll always bring up pay and wages for sure. And that is a thing. I will say that since the pandemic hit, it has come up, right? Like we've seen a significant rise and increase in wage, but and by no means am I saying has it become a livable wage, because we all know that we're all doing side hustles to make ends meet, right?
Right.
But I will say that there has been an improvement, but it's all the things, but I will say that a lot of it's burnout.
Yeah.
You can't see appointments every 15 minutes and expect quality medicine and
No.
not have clients pissed at you for paying $1,000 for progressive medicine and preventative care. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, I agree. When I worked in general practice, and then I went to emergency and then I came back to general practice, I I could not deal with the 15 minutes, the having to rush, the not being able to have quality conversations with your clients. And
Uh-huh.
it's always just like, well, look at the time. Where are we at on time? And it's just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. Whereas before, when I worked in my emergency clinic, I got to spend as much time triaging, talking to the owners. You're focusing on that patient,
Yeah.
and you're taking that time, and those clients were way more happy
Oh,
because
yeah.
we were taking the time with them. And then I also just want to circle back to what you were saying about going into and questioning the doctors, or not questioning them, but making suggestions. And we kind of talked a little bit about that in our chill and spill, but the fact that our DVMs don't see us as colleagues,
Mhm.
that is so frustrating. And I'm not speaking for all
Mhm.
the DVMs, because there are some
Right.
fabulous DVMs that I work
Oh,
with
yeah.
that absolutely have no issues with that. But I am going to say, I recently just had a review done by one of the hospitals that I work at. And in the review, somebody had mentioned that I questioned the doctors. And it didn't say that I questioned them too much. It didn't say, it was just very like one statement. She questions the doctors. And I was thinking in my head, yeah, I do question the doctors. And I
Yeah.
and I and I do it to double check, because I'm a communicator, and I'm
Yes.
always double
You are.
checking. So when the doctors tell me, like when they tell me a medication, I say the medication out loud back to them to make sure that,
Absolutely.
okay, we're both on the same page.
Yep.
Or, or sometimes I do have a question for the doctor, but it's either out of curiosity because I want to learn,
Oh, yeah.
or I'm like, oh, this is how I've normally seen it done. Why are we doing it this way instead? Or
Oh,
I'm
for
just
sure.
legit like, hey, that dosage doesn't seem right to me. It seems a little big. Do, I,
Yeah.
can you double check? Can we double check that? And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if I'm still wrong about it, I'm like, okay, no, cool. I just want to double check. I just want to make
Yeah.
sure that we're both on the same page. And that's what I always say. I literally had something happen last night where I filled out Denamarin, and then we always have the doctor double check it. She double checked it, and then I went back, and then I went to go discharge. I triple checked it again, and I read, and I was like, oh, it's 14 quantity, but it says 1 tablet every 12 hours. And it was really late at night, and I checked with my other LVT, and I was like, okay, it's really late, but my math isn't right on this, right? And then she's like, yeah, no, go double check with the doctor. And I did, and the doctor's like, oh, thank you for checking that. So we changed the label. And it frustrates me so much. We should not be afraid to question our doctors. And the doctors should not
Never.
be taking that. They should not be taking offense to that. We're a team, and we're all just trying to make
Yes.
sure that we're taking care of our patients appropriately. And
Yep.
it's not ever, at least in my sense, I'm not ever questioning you defiantly. I'm not ever trying to
Yep.
say that I'm right and you're wrong. I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing, and that the patient's getting the absolute best care.
As a colleague, I would hope that I had another colleague looking out for my license and my back.
Hell
And
yeah.
every single time I have, for the most part, I would say that veterinarians, I do the same thing. I'm a repeater. And it's because we all get in that rushed sense of let's get this client out the door, or we're in this emergency situation and I'm calling the code, and I'm asking for these meds, and I need to know, like, I need zero point 0.1 of atropine, 0.1 of epi, I need flunazamil. Like I'm calling for these drugs, and I have the doctor listening, and then she hollers out, no, that should have been point blah, blah, blah.
Right.
There should be that open communication going back and forth. You should have that rally. We had a case when I want to say it's been about 18, 17 years ago, where it was early in the morning. We were pulling up drugs for a patient, and I questioned the doctor because, like, in the recesses of my exhausted brain, I knew that drug, it was too much buprenorphine for this patient's pre-meds. It was a little tiny dog. So I went and I asked the doctor, and she's like, oh, hang on, let me recalculate, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, yep, that's the right dose. And then I was like, okay. And I'm pulling up the dose, and my spidey sense was going off. I turn around and I'm working with this other technician. And as I'm pushing, I pulled up the drug off the anesthesia sheet, and I said, a lame point XYZ. And I'm giving it to the dog. I didn't even give her a chance to respond. And she goes, oh my God, Kim, that's too much. That is 10 times the dose. And I was like, oh God. So we had to go, we didn't even have the drug in-house to reverse it. So we had to have somebody go to the ER clinic to get the
The
reversal. And
reversal.
but this is why we check these things. And the
Mhm.
doctor comes racing out. She goes, that was too much. And, but, this is why we double check. And
But also,
it
I
is
mean,
not
after
disrespect.
there's also just that sense of like, okay, you double checked and they still said yes, and then it's like, even though
Yep.
in your gut you still feel like it's wrong, we are scared sometimes to say, no, no, I still think it's wrong because we're afraid of that
Mhm.
retaliation of the DVM, the retaliation
Mhm.
of our managers and saying, like, you're being defiant, you're being argumentative,
Yep.
you're not respecting the DVM. And it's like, that's not what this is about.
Truly. Yeah. Yep. And we all have baggage from previous experiences.
Yes.
And imagine someone who isn't credentialed, and we've all been in those circumstances
Yes.
before, who won't advocate for themselves and won't advocate for their patients.
Right.
And yeah, I've literally had technicians hiding in a closet calling me and saying, "This is what's happening, and I can't advocate for my patient. Please help me." And I'm
Yeah.
like,
It's
"Okay,
sad.
I'll be right there." Yeah. And
It's sad. So yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it too, just to be
yeah,
honest.
right.
Um, so
Yeah.
okay, moving on to the next question.
Yep. So, with all that being said, and I'm sure this really correlates into this, so how can relief work help address some of these challenges?
Ooh, well, I mean, relief technicians come in with fresh energy. Oftentimes, you have a staff that is exhausted. They are tired. They've been at this grind for months on end. They've been short staffed. They've been stretched really thin. And then I'm coming in and I'm fresh energy and I'm ready to work and I'm going to bust my butt for my pay. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to work as hard as I can. And in between those appointments and seeing patients or emergencies, I'm going to pick up the slack. And so I have the skills, I've got the energy. I also have that flexibility to come in and work as hard as I possibly can without having to onboard someone, without having to be babysat, without having to be followed around and make sure. Granted, I promise you, like when I come into a clinic, I will verify all my drugs. Every time I have a prescription that I fill, I will go to the doctor or a CBT and I'll be like, I need you to verify my prescription or my drugs. And that takes people aback because they're like, I trust you. And I'm like, awesome. Sign off my prescription.
Mhm.
It's cool. Like, I just want to have everything go as smoothly as it possibly can for that practice. And, you know, I can give that staff time off when they need it. I can provide, support for their surgical schedule and all those high volume days. And
Mhm.
I can help keep them from burning out by allowing those technicians to have time off so that they can go and have their vacation. I'm more cost effective. I can keep that morale up because they're able to get that time off. And it's funny, I was just texting one of the technicians that I work with earlier before this podcast. She goes, I never have to worry when you're on staff because I know
Aw.
you've got this. And she's like, I don't have to worry about you coming in. You're always there when you say you'll be there. She's like, I never have to worry about things getting done because you're thorough. And I never have to worry or second guess what you're doing because it's done completely. And so I want to make sure that I am providing relief. So that's what relief technicians can provide.
That's awesome. That's definitely the whole point of it, and that hopefully that we can bring some joy and positivity to these staff members that are tired, they're burnout, and they're upset. And yeah, I I see that a lot sometimes. With that being said, what aspect of your relief work are you most passionate about, and how do you keep that passion alive?
I am most passionate about fear-free and cooperative care,
Yes.
and I'm most passionate about bringing that to the practices I work at. I don't provide unsolicited advice that is not only tacky, but off-putting. And so I basically just lead by example. I will quietly shift perspectives. I just whip out my, you know, um, self-adhesive cat wraps and let the magic speak for itself. And I will tell you, people are sold within a heartbeat. And I just let them know, like, we don't need to be forceful. We don't need to dominate these patients. We don't need to scruff these cats. We don't need to rack them. We don't need to put a dog in its place, if you will. The old school of thought is not necessary. And I will say that a lot of technicians, when they are burnt out and stretched thin, they lose their patience with their patients.
Yes, that is the truth.
And so I'm not just there to pull blood. I can do that in my sleep. I'm not there to place catheters. I don't care. I am there to help support those technicians. And if that means that they get more practice while I use cooperative care and fear-free restraint for those patients while they place that catheter and get more practice and while they pull blood, I'm happy to do it. And, I work with those clients and those patients and the doctors, and I get results, and it makes their day run a lot more smoothly. And they really see the happiness, and they see, I feel like, from my perspective, they see how much love I put into it, and I feel like they see the passion that I have for my patient care and the quality of patient care that I provide. Because at the end of the day, I want my patients treated the same way I want my animals treated when they go in there, and I hope to impart some of that wisdom onto the staff that I work with. So,
I love that. Yeah, I'm fear-free certified as well, and I think it's a definite game changer. So good job on being
yeah.
fear-free and trying to politely and professionally implicate it into those clinics.
Yeah,
Yes.
because if you say that to someone, you're like, "I could fear free," especially here in Utah and especially in rural communities, they're like, "Oh, no, I've tried that and I got bit," and I'm like, "Okay." So if you just do it and then you show them,
But
they're like,
also, if you don't believe in it and you don't have the right energy for it, then it's not gonna work. It's a
"Oh,
whole
for sure.
energy thing.
Oh, yeah."
Um, I would say when Fear Free first came out, I think I was against it working in emergency. The more though that I've seen so I'm not Fear Free certified, but
Mhm,
I have worked with Fear Free certified people, and they have taught me a lot about
mhm.
the techniques. And I
Yeah.
think they're fabulous, and I totally agree. I'm at the part now where even if there's a little bit of a fight, I'm like, all right, we need to do something differently. We're not going to sit here. We're not going to force it. It's not good for me. It's not good for the patient. So no, I completely agree. I'm going to get fear free certified. It's on my list of things to do.
Yeah. And I mean, we know better now and we can do better. When I first started in vet med, I was taught to dominate animals. You pin them,
Yeah.
you do all the things, you scruff those cats. And I saw the ramifications of that. And
Uh-huh.
I was just like, "Are you sure we need to do this?" And they're like, "Oh, yeah, for sure." But I mean, now we know better.
Yep.
And that
Yep.
isn't what happens. And
Yeah.
so I'm so grateful.
And I
So
used to
grateful.
be so afraid of cats, like terrified of cats to the point where I literally was like, it got to the point where at one of the clinics I worked at, if it was a cat, everyone automatically knew that I didn't want anything to do with it, whether it was a nice cat or not. And so
Yeah.
I was spoiled and I didn't have to deal with cats at all. And then I left and I went to a different clinic and they were like, "Oh, we don't scruff, we do fear free." And then I did the whole like eye roll, like, "Oh gosh, here we go."
Yeah.
But then I had an open mind about it too, and I learned a lot, and
Mhm.
now now I like this is a big step for me, but even like if the cat's like growling or hissing, I can actually successfully place an IV catheter in that cat
Nice.
using fear-free techniques,
Oh,
and
so
I
nice.
did not used to be that way. And then I remember going back and doing relief for the clinic that used to spoil me, and I didn't have to deal with
Mhm.
cats, and I had worked for like half of a day, and I remember like looking at my boss and being like, "Hey, I'm actually really good with cats now." And she goes, "I know, I noticed that." And I was like, "You did?" She's like, "I did. I noticed. You're doing, like, I'm proud of you." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you."
Yay! That is so
Mhm.
wonderful. That is fantastic. I love
Yeah,
stories
good.
like that because, you almost feel like you're in a cult, like Fear Free is a cult, and you're like, "Come
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
join my religion,"
Join
and
it.
people are like, "No."
Join my religion. My whole business is fear-free certified based. I am
Nice.
also feline friendly certified and human animal bond certified.
Nice.
And I am the only one in my area that has those credentialings. And
Wow.
it absolutely it helps so much to be fear-free certified. Yeah, so good job on becoming it, and I can't wait for Jen to get it. I'm excited when she's like, "Michelle,
Yay.
I'm fear-free certified." Yes.
Yeah, I just need to do it.
Yeah.
I just need to do it.
Yeah, it's
I just
awesome.
finished my Recover CPR recertification, so that'll be my next one.
So, can you share a success story that reaffirms why you chose this path?
Yes. So this one actually happened recently.
Ooh,
So, I was working at a very remote clinic, and by remote, this one is up in the mountains, and it's a beautiful new practice, and it is in a rural area, and it's about an hour from my house. And for Utah, I know for California and other places, people are like, "An hour from your house? That's not bad," but for Utah, that is pretty far. But I love going up to this practice. It's absolutely gorgeous. The drive is amazing. I don't think I really want to go up there during the wintertime because that doesn't sound fun with the amount of snow that we get. But we were just finishing up a dental on a little patient, when a client called. Their dog was in respiratory distress, and with an airway obstruction, and the dog was purple at home. And so the dog lived down the street. And so the other technician, so there were three of us on staff. It was me, another technician, and the doctor. And other technician met the person in the parking lot and she hulked this dog in. She comes running back to the treatment room, and I already had the ultrasound V-trough on the ground. And this dog, I've put her on her back, and I milked out the foreign body out of her throat, flipped her back over, and then
sweet.
evacuated her throat. And then I was able to intubate her, get her on some oxygen, and start breathing for her. She had thready femoral pulses, but they were still there. Her eyes were constricted. And I mean, we were on our way out. It was a pretty close thing. And then like as I started breathing for her, she started coming back around. She became a little bit more conscious, and then she just was like, oh God. And her owner was like standing right behind me. The vet was with the dental patient. And so I had the other technician just kind of sit with this patient, and I grabbed the doctor and had her come and evaluate, and she extubated her right away. We knew the dog probably aspirated some of the material. It was a baked potato that she stole off the counter. Yeah. And so but this dog, once she was extubated, she hopped off the table and she was walking around the treatment room. I mean, it was within 10
That's
minutes
cool.
of her being brought in the clinic. She was already walking around, and she wanted a drink of water. She tried to eat the rest of the potato off the floor. I'm
Of
like, are you
course.
kidding me right now?
Of course she did.
So we monitored her for a little bit, but I mean, her vitals were stable and she was ready to roll. And so her only question was, how long does she have to not work her cattle? This dog brings cattle in, and she is a working dog, and of course a pet, but also a working dog.
Working dog.
And she's a geriatric working dog as well. But so obviously the vet was like, no, she needs to not, at least for a week. We don't want her to have any issues, but send her home on antibiotics and NSAIDs and, recheck RADs and whatnot. But yeah, I got pretty emotional because here I thought, like, just to think, in November of last year, I was considering leaving the field. And I mean, because I was there, and this dog got to walk away. And I mean, the vet told me and the other technician told me they wouldn't have done that. They wouldn't have known. They didn't have suction. They had no suction at that clinic, and they wouldn't have known what to do. So, I mean, she gets to go home and bring in her cows, and I mean, it's pretty incredible. So, I mean, if for no other reason that I stayed in the field, at least Luna is still alive, and her gets to live a little bit longer. So that's my favorite success story,
Oh,
and I love it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me too.
Yeah, and I think of it
I
as
never
this
heard
as the
that.
same way too sometimes of like even if you just help one person or you're just helping one animal, like, you've made such a difference. And I think that we forget how much of a huge difference that we make in
Mhm.
every single day when we show up to work, and it just becomes like our normal life. And
Right.
and then it just doesn't mean anything anymore. And we're like, well, we're not doing enough. And it's like we're doing more than enough.
So much.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that story. That's so amazing and that's so awesome. And the same thing of, of like you said, like if you weren't there, then who knows? And
Who
how many
knows?
I think about that scenario all the time too with certain people of just like if this
Mhm.
specific person wasn't here, would this have ended up the same way?
Right.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Um,
And it was also the fact that you called the pet by its name Luna and you remember it and it's engraved in your head. It's not just the pet or
mhm.
the dog or the patient. Like you can
Mhm.
tell that meant a lot to you in that moment. I onboarded a new dog today and I cannot remember his name for the love of God. So for you to remember the name and that happened how long ago, it just shows how much of an impact you're making to remember the pet's name. Because a lot of us, we don't remember the names, we remember the faces, the cases.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it shows how emotionally, involved you were with that. And it's
Right.
great.
Mhm.
You are making a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you've been doing this for about 6 months. You've obviously had
Mhm.
great results. You've had great experiences. Do you have any advice for technicians who are considering starting their own business?
Yeah, I think that, I mean, definitely get credentialed if you're not already, and then do your due diligence. You want to set up your LLC or your PLLC, get that professional liability insurance and network. I mean, your community is everything. I had the benefit of knowing quite a few people in the vet med community. I've worked with a lot of people and maintained a lot of really good relationships with veterinarians and practice managers still. One of my biggest connections is an amazing practice manager that I had at one of my clinics. Her name's Holly. And Holly took time out of her day, out of her incredibly busy schedule. She's a practice manager liaison for a smaller corporate holding here in the state of Utah. And she took me around to 5 practices when I first started out. And we just hung out and spent the day together. And she introduced me to practice managers. I mean, that's huge. That is absolutely huge, and
Yeah.
I adore her for that. So your community is everything. I mean, I love her to death and I adore her and she's a good friend of mine and just really make sure that you do your research prior to getting this started, especially your legal research.
Good to
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I feel like we got to have, and I don't know much about relief, but I feel like there's definitely standards that you guys have to have or should have in order for the DVMs and the office managers to take you guys seriously. And that is a legit setup, your own insurance. That
Right.
way you guys are
Sometimes it
pioneering a standard.
intimidates them though. Have
Oh,
you had
really?
that? Have you had that
Yeah.
happen, Kim?
Yep.
It intimidates them?
Sometimes
Yeah.
it does, yeah, because they just want that simple, like, oh, okay, here, fill out an application, sign the W-2, and then when you're like, oh, no, no, you're not going to be making my schedule, I'm going to tell you what my schedule is, and you're actually going to sign this contract that tells you what all my boundaries are, and what I'm going to be willing to do, and what you're
Uh-huh.
going to be doing, and so that it's
Uh-huh.
legal, and okay, I might be saying something I should be saying, and you guys let me know if I should edit
Say
this
it.
out,
Say
but
it.
there are a lot of shady veterinary clinics out there that are doing illegal stuff. So when they start
Yep.
seeing those contracts, they're like, oh, yeah, nope, we don't want this person.
Yep. Yeah,
Really?
because in my contract agreement, I do have a specific spot that says that what the practice is expected to provide for me. It's a safe work environment
Yep.
and an environment that where the licensed veterinarians practice veterinary medicine in an ethical and safe manner.
Yep.
And I cannot stress that enough. So I have it worded so that you are supposed to follow it to the highest industry standards based on the state and local Veterinary Practice Act. So that, I mean, it's incredibly important because I don't want to risk my license and I don't want to get into a situation where I'm pulled in front of the Department of Professional Licensing because someone is doing something that is nefarious. I will not put my license at risk. I mean, there needs to be legal consent with the client for certain things. Technicians and uncertified professionals should not be practicing medicine or performing surgery. So, I mean, those are things that I will not do. And there are also things that you wouldn't think of that should be in your contract as well.
Yeah, which you learn as you go along, and then you're like,
For
oh,
sure.
okay, I need to change that a little bit. I need to add this
Yeah.
now into my contract and have everyone re-sign it.
Yeah, and some of it can be as little as like wording here or this, that, there, and you need to have a contract attorney review it. And I mean, a lot of people will say, oh, well, just plug it into ChatGPT or some sort of AI bot. That's great if you have an existing layout, which I've posted in the unattached vet tech group.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yeah, there's a link that I posted in there about contract agreements for relief technicians. It's like a template. And it's all the things that you should hit on your contract agreement. It's somewhere in there, but I also have it saved on my desktop. So I will attach that in the notes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so I say if you somehow get that to me, or if you like bump it up in the group, I will pin it to the top. So that way
perfect.
I'll pin it right up to the top right next to Jesse's information. So that'll help out others greatly. Thank you.
And we as technicians have every right to be treated as licensed professionals, because that's who we are. And if clinics are not respecting our contract, our business, our professionalism, then that just means that clinic doesn't respect their veterinary technicians, and you don't want to work for a clinic that doesn't respect their veterinary technicians anyway.
No.
Yeah.
And a lot of these technicians are bullied into silence
Yes.
by their superiors. And I will say that it is hard, or the people who are being allowed to do the things that they shouldn't be allowed to do.
Exactly.
You want to stay in this place because you've been given an opportunity, but at what cost?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Limitations. That's how they get you.
Yep.
Okay. And then moving on to the next one.
Yes, ma'am. I will take it away. So, Kim, what resources or communities have been most helpful to you in your journey?
Ooh, I will say that the biggest resource has been the unattached vet tech group. I cannot thank you enough, Michelle. And your TikToks. I will say that your TikToks have come up on my algorithm well before I even started thinking about this endeavor. And the fact that you advocated so hard for professionalism and the groups, the unattached vet tech groups, community of professionals who have amazing resources has been a great resource. And a huge shout out to Jessie Hurd, because that girl, she recommended the Small Business Development Center, and I can't recommend them enough either. I got in touch with the local chapter here in Utah, and they hooked me up with my advisor, Bryce Hansen, and he is an instructor over at the Salt Lake Community College. He's a professor in the business administration. And I mean, they basically teach you how to run a small business. They answer every single question that you have, and they give you suggestions. I mean, I was taking notes like mad, and he literally walked me through how to set up my small business here in Utah. He coached me on how an LLC is different from a PLLC. And if I am a credentialed medical professional, then I need to have a PLLC just to help protect myself from malpractice. And so it was huge. And then he helped me with professional liability insurance. And I did it. And then also you did as well. I mean, I went with State Farm Insurance, and my insurance agent was able to build a professional liability insurance plan for me as a credentialed technician based off of professional liability insurance that is used for veterinarians. So it's one of a kind. And that's big. That's huge. And it all started within the unattached vet tech group. So, I mean, and this podcast. I mean, I listen to this podcast and I'm like, dang, I got some amazing stuff that I can learn from. All these tips from each podcast. I was like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Or, ooh, I can I hadn't thought about that either. Like, it's endless information, and I'm constantly learning from all of these people. And again, it doesn't matter how long someone's in the field. You could be in the field for 5 minutes or 50 years. I can learn something from someone, and I take that with me wherever I go. And I mean, these are excellent resources. So I've been very grateful. So thank
Aw.
you, ladies.
Yeah,
Aw,
no, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm over
Aw.
here with, like, I'm sure me and Jen, we both have our little hearts fluttering right now.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh. First of all, is anyone even listening? And if they are
yes.
they getting anything from it? Are we vibing? I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to help. I'm just trying to do what I can. And so
Yeah.
just to hear that affirmation, it's just like,
Means
okay,
a lot.
yeah, we're doing well over here.
Yeah, it
Oh,
means
it's
a
so
lot to us.
helpful. I mean, yeah, like listening to you guys, gab and on the side chats just about the things that are going on in the field. I was like, oh, I hadn't even heard about that. I was like, oh my God. And there are corporations that I work for, do relief for, and I was like, ooh, I didn't know that. And so I kind of looked into it. I was like, oh dang, I do still work for one of those urgent cares, and it's one of the few that are remaining still standing. And so, it is interesting to get all of that information, but on such a great platform. It's cool that on all
Yeah.
on all levels, whether it's, YouTube or podcast, and also on Instagram and Facebook and all that
Yeah,
jazz. So
all the places. I will say, did you hear the Chillsville episode about the corporations?
yes,
Was that,
yeah.
yeah, I was really fiery on that one. I was passionate. I was going off on that one. That's my my
Yeah.
soapbox right there.
We've gotten really
I'm-
good feedback on those particular episodes, though. I've had a
Yeah.
lot of people that are really loving those episodes. So
I do. I really
Yeah.
like them. Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think that gets us on to our next question too, of just how do you see the role of vet techs evolving within the next few years? Just your realistic view of it. Do you think we're going to get any better, or do you think that we're moving backwards? What is your real take on that?
I think it's a hard one, because had it not been for the recent changes with Colorado's veterinary professional associate role that just got voted through, that mid-level practitioner role, I think the waters really got muddied with that. And I think that brings a whole new level of, it really kind of pushes down vet techs a bit more, credentialed veterinary technicians. I mean, we already have VTS. We are an
You're right.
incredibly amazing group of people who have worked really hard to credential in their specialty. And we have veterinary technologists and certified veterinary technicians, RVTs, LVTs, who aren't even allowed to practice at the top of their credentials because they're not being recognized in their practice. And yet now we have a mid-level practitioner role, and that hurts vets as well. I mean, it really does. And just to be perfectly honest. So as far as I know that's off topic, but as far as real talk about how the roles of vet techs will change, I think that given the different directions that we can go in. I mean, if we have space to be relief technicians, mobile technicians, once this gains more traction, I think that hopefully that might add a little bit more longevity to the careers of veterinary technicians, and maybe gain a little bit more popularity with technician fields, because I think a lot of people, you're either an in-clinic married to that practice, or you do something in research. That's basically what it's been here in Utah. And now you have options, and that's been a big game changer, I feel like. And the more people who have exposure to that, I think the healthier the environment will be. But we need more people in the field, and we need people to stay. And that's not going to change until industry changes. And with a lot of these corporate places really changing the landscape of vet med, it's hard to know. It really is. It's hard to know.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little scary. I think we're right at that blurred line right now where we have a couple directions that we can go in, and it's either gonna be really good or it's going to be really bad. And I think
Right.
that it's time for veterinary technicians to finally speak out and to be like, we're done. Like, we're done being disrespected. We're done not being treated appropriately.
Right.
And we
Yep.
need to know that we are worth more than what they say we are.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
now that I think it's in our I think that we've been waiting so long for DBMs to give us the torch, and we just need to fucking snatch it right out of their damn hands at this point
Hell
Absolutely.
yeah.
and just be
Absolutely.
like, come on, what would you be without us?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
just, yeah.
some of the things that I see, a lot of these students or these young graduates that come out of vet tech school and, vet school, they don't have the skills to do that I do.
And
I mean,
how much they rely on us.
and AI. So, like you
Ooh.
can't read a cytology, you can't read a urinalysis, you can't read, you can't read a smear. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry the SETI view is broken, but I mean, I can read that for you. They're like, wait, you can? And I'm like,
Yeah.
So
I had to do that in tech school. Like, they're like, if you can't properly read or prep and read a blood smear, you will fail out of tech school.
Yeah.
right.
Ugh,
And a lot of them
man.
are like, how do you read a blood smear? And I look at these blood smears that are being made and I'm like, that isn't even diagnostic quality. And so I'm like, here, let me teach you how to do that first
Yeah.
and foremost. And
Oh,
like,
boy.
let's just sit and prep. If we have downtime, these slides are free from the company. Let's just play with blood.
Yep.
And I mean, you get a patient who is anemic that comes in. I'm like, let's just run a hematocrit.
Yeah.
Let's do a tube. Or like, let's just spin down our microhematocrit tube and let's see, let's
Well,
get a
and the
Paxil
amount of
going.
times that we're seeing these abnormal CBCs too when the platelet count isn't looking right. And I'm like, all right, should we do a manual? And I've had doctors be like, can you do a manual
Yeah.
platelet estimate? And I'm like, yes. And I think that we should do that
Yeah. I
because,
just do it. Like, I just do it.
yes, we should do that because,
Mhm.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can ask, was it a good draw or not? Who knows at the end of the
Right.
day? Like, come on, let's just do a quick platelet estimate. Let's see if there's some clumping and move
Right.
on with our lives.
Yeah,
It's not that
exactly.
hard.
Or is the CBC machine filthy? Like, does it need to be
Yeah.
clean?
Yeah, you cannot trust the amount of times that we trust these machines too much. It's like, come on, let's go back to using our brains a little bit, critical thinking.
Right.
So,
Well,
I'm
yeah.
okay. I'm not trying to make this a bash fest. I promise. It's just
No.
But I'm all here for it. I'm like, yes, give it to me.
No, but that's just it though. Like my husband laughs because he's like, your skills are so marketable. Look at you go. Like, because all these clinics now are relying on machines to be able to tell them these things. But when the machines go down or they're not working properly, or it's the weekend and we're waiting on these results and this patient is pissing its pants now.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got hematuria, he's got stringyria. I mean, like I can give you preliminary results now. You can start that pet on the appropriate antibiotics and
And then you
here
can
we
send
go.
it out to the lab for confirmation.
For sure, or a culture. Like let's do that. And
No.
my eyeballs, you're already paying for them, so we might as well put these old eyes to use, man. Like I'm happy to do it.
Nice. Yes.
Yep.
So with that being said, and we talked about innovations, trends, but
Yeah.
what are some of the innovations that you think will shape the future relief work?
I just think that with relief work, if we get this beautiful association for mobile veterinary technicians off the ground, it would
And relief.
really.
Yep,
Yeah.
and relief techs.
And
Yep,
relief
yep.
technicians, for sure. I really think it would elevate our profession and create standards and show clients and our colleagues that we're serious about what we do. And it would really show those clinics that we do relief work for that we're serious. And it's not just the PLLC, it's not just the professional liability insurance, it's not just that I'm a credentialed technician. It's that I am going to CE to help me elevate my skills and abilities to be able to seamlessly walk into your practice and integrate myself without needing to be onboarded. So, I mean, I think that innovation will really be a game changer for us.
I hope so. I hope so. It's as you know, you joined on right as we were getting ready to have our first meeting, and it's going to take a while. It's going to
For sure.
Rome wasn't built in a day, but it certainly was knocked
No.
down pretty fast. So that's why I'm very cautious on making sure us together as a team, we're
Mhm.
going to build out something beautiful to where the members of the association are taken seriously within the
Right.
veterinary industry altogether. Like that is so important to me
Yeah.
because we need to make some change with these corporations coming in, with AI coming in, with the mid-level practitioners coming in. We have to stand our ground and show them why we are so talented, what makes us talented, what makes us
Right.
good and reliable. So that's why, another reason why I'm like, yeah, let's do an association. I just woke up one day,
Right.
it's like, let's do this.
And
You
Yeah.
why they're
know,
spending
and
the money, like why
Yeah.
you're paying me to do what I'm doing and why I'm worth every single penny of that money
mhm.
Yeah.
and why I'm willing to travel to your practice and why you are willing to go to their homes and help their patients out. It's collaborative care
Yeah.
and it's a part of the patient's entire health journey. And so if we can get that association off the ground, if we can be at conferences, if we can change that scope of care and really reinvigorate some of these technicians' passion and drive to stay in the field, I would think that would be a great change to see.
But yes, thank
Yeah.
you.
And show that how much we take ourselves seriously and how they
For
should do
sure.
the same.
Yeah.
And do it the right way.
Yep.
I mean, do it with care, do it with education and knowledge.
No. And yeah, Kim, Jen, I don't know if you know, but Kim, she's in the association. I
Yeah.
interviewed her. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, I
Mhm,
thought you knew, but I just want to make sure because she
mhm.
was so new. Like as soon as I met her, I was like, "Ooh, I want you in. Let's hurry up and get you." Like, yeah, so that way she could make it to the first meeting. So yeah.
No, that's
So
great. I'm not the only
yes,
relief technician in there anymore. That's great.
no,
I love that. I don't
yes,
want to be the only one.
yeah. And it was interesting because Jen was the one who, when I met her, I was so just blown away by her professionalism, how she's already had
Yeah,
templates, documents. I think it was right on the spot. I was like, I want you in the association. I don't know what I want you to do, but you can do whatever you want. I trust you. That
mhm.
part of the association is all you. And that's when I actually decided to incorporate relief technicians,
That's
was when I met
awesome.
Jen. Yeah. And I was like, I need to include relief technicians because of her. And then,
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. And so we all inspire each other. Like Jen absolutely
Yeah,
inspired me to want to help relief tax as well when I didn't even think about that. And the association knew we're bringing each other together and we're meeting people and we're coming together as a team.
awesome.
Yep, yep. And so, and I think the next question is
Um,
Jen's.
yeah. So, were there any other options? Because you said that you were going to quit vet med if you weren't
Mhm.
going to do this. So, were there any other options that you were thinking about before you started your own business?
Absolutely. I mean, there are times where I was just like, I could go work in human medicine. I could go and be a phlebotomist. And then I looked at how much a phlebotomist made, and I was like, this is less than what I
Yeah.
even make now, I
Yeah.
mean, and then I would have to go to school for it. I was
Yeah.
just like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. And then, I thought about, well, gosh, I could go and work at my kid's school. And then I'm like, no, I don't want to go and like work with a bunch of petri dishes. Like I'd just get sick all the time. And then, I mean, like, I wanted to go work at, like, the Sev or the Maverick, and just, like, make Slurpees all day, to be honest. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
I I just wanted something completely different, but my heart was not ready to give up. I mean, I thought about teaching again, but again, it's about boundaries, and when you teach, you don't have boundaries because
Yeah.
you're doing everything on your own time. I remember when I taught the career college and I had no pay for my admin hours and I had no pay for grading papers. I had no pay for making my lesson plans. I mean, everything was expected to be done within your contact hour time. And I couldn't do that. There's no way. I wanted my students to
Not if
learn.
you want
So
quality. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I'm sure things are different now, but there isn't really anywhere to teach here anymore. And, but yeah, I just really, I was at a loss and my heart was hurt and I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was just like, well, maybe I'll make this a go. And I'm so happy I did. I'm so happy.
It's great. I love
Yes.
that.
And can I just add in, if there's not any opportunities to teach out in there, I think that might be something to explore, Kim, is possibly, think you can build it, girl. You're
Yeah.
impressive. Like it,
Thank you.
just keep that in the back of your head, like maybe, just if there's not resources out there, start them,
Yeah.
you know.
That
Yeah.
But
could
I'm
be an avenue for sure.
yes. And I would look back one day and be like, back in the day, we interviewed her. So, um, and then closing out, our last question, and this is my personal favorite, but Kim, if there's anyone in your life that you would like to dedicate this episode to, anyone, personal or work, pets, passed on in some way that has influenced or inspired you, that you want to show them some appreciation, who would that be?
Probably a few people. I would say my friends. I would say my friend Jen, Danielle, and my wonderful friend Julianne. They are all very amazing and they've always supported me throughout this whole endeavor. And they're always my cheerleading squad. And of course, my husband, who has been there since the beginning. We've been together for just over 26 years. We've been married for 22, coming up on August 23rd. So, yeah, and he has endured every nasty vet story, and he's a tax accountant, so he does not handle that well. So,
My husband's an accountant too, and he hates it when I talk
nice.
about vet stuff. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a lot in common.
Yeah.
And I mean, he has advised me, which went to the Small Business Development Center and like spoke to them and I was like, oh my God, guess what? You're right. And he's like, yeah, seriously, I knew that I was. He's always been there and he has encouraged me to follow my dreams. He's always been super supportive. And even when I've wanted to stay in this, despite how much heartache I've gone through in vet med and how hard it's been, he's just like, I'll support you no matter what. And you should definitely do this. And then when I said, I love this, it's been so great. He goes, see, I told you. And I was like, sure. But yeah, definitely to him as well. So
He sounds wonderful and smart.
yeah,
Yep.
sometimes. Just kidding.
Too.
It's our
We'll
love
edit that
language.
out. That's okay. No.
We gotta give each other a hard time. So
Yeah. So, well, is there,
All right.
Kim, anything else you'd like to add for us today before we let you go?
I don't think so. Other than thank you guys so much. This has been great. I really appreciate it.
Yes.
No, yeah. No, thank you. We
Thank you.
appreciate your support. I also want to say, Kim, you are like so great with being so interactive with the social media and I love it. And
Thanks.
every time I get a like, I'm like, oh, I got a like. And it's just like, that's like, we're babies right now in the social media aspect. So, I want to say I notice it. I appreciate it. I see you. Thank you.
Aw, thanks.
And we really appreciate you wanting to be a part of this. And we love the involvement that we have from our listeners and we love the involvement that we have with our guests. And I feel like with every guest that we have, we built a really good relationship with. And I feel like with the networking and with the relationships that we have every single time we do something like this, it gets bigger and better.
Yeah.
No, likewise. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing so great. Again, I cannot say how much I've just loved being a part of this. So
Yes.
Awesome. Oh,
We're
thank
glad to have
you.
you. Yes, and you're going to be such an inspiration. I know a lot of techs who want to do relief are going to tune into this episode.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get a
You're
lot
very
out of this
relatable.
episode.
Yeah.
I hope so.
sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. For
Yeah.
Do
sure.
relief.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap. And I hope everyone really loved this episode because we loved making it. And we'll see you guys next time. All right. Bye.
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 Thank you so much for tuning in to Endless Journeys, the VetTech Odyssey podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found some valuable insights. If you did, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so please leave us a review and let us know what you think. You can also connect with us on all social media platforms at Endless Journeys, the VetTech Odyssey podcast. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making a positive impact in the veterinary world. We need you guys. Have a great day.